For number 5, it says the blue cube shows a multiple of 3 and the sum is 8. So when it says that the blue cube is a multiple of 3, multiples are when you take that number and you multiply it by another number. So 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, 3 times 5, so on and so forth. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, oops, I was supposed to put 9. 3 times 4 is 12, so on and so forth. Well, if we look at this table, and these are my blue cubes right here, the only multiples of 3 that I have, and I'm going to switch colors to make it easier to see, my blue cube is 3 right here. So this set has a multiple of 3. And then 6 is also a multiple of 3. So this set right here would work. But I don't have any 9s, 12s, so on and so forth. It only goes up to 6. So for the probability of the blue being a multiple of 3, there are 6 plus 6 favorable outcomes. So there are 12 favorable outcomes out of 36 different outcomes that we could have. Now this can be simplified to 1/3. Now, we need to find the probability that the sum is 8 given that the blue was a multiple of 3. Well, now when we're doing the second probability, remember, we're not looking at all of the possible outcomes. We're only looking at what we've selected as favorable outcomes from the first event. So I'm only looking at these 12. Now out of these 12, I would like the sum to be 8. And sum means that it adds to be 8. Well, let's see. 1 plus 3 is 4, so that doesn't work. 2 plus 3, that's 5. 3 plus 3, that's 6. 4 plus 3 is 7. Here's 5 plus 3, which is 8, so that's a favorable outcome. And 6 plus 3 is 9, so that wouldn't work. Now let's check this. 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 plus 6 is 8, which is what we wanted. And then all of these would be larger than 8, so none of these would work. So we have 2 favorable outcomes out of, remember, we didn't look at the whole set, we only looked at these 12. So 2 out of 12, or that's 1/6. So if I want the probability of the 2 dependent events, I need to multiply these together. So 1/3 times 1/6 equals 1/18. Now, I want you to pull out the homework so I can give you some more directions. On the homework, I want you to take your time. First, I want to point out that number 1 is just a vocabulary question, so you're going to circle either independent or dependent. 2 and 3 says see example 1. So in your notes, example 1 was our independent events. So that means for 2 and 3, you are using independent events. 4 and 5 says see example 2. Well, our example 2 in our notes was our dependent events. So I want you to make a note that you will be using dependent events. Also, some terminology. We've already seen multiple of 3. So that's 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, so on and so forth. But product uses multiplication. So I'm going to write multiplication. What we did on the notes is we used the sum. So sum means addition. Product means multiplication. If it would have said difference, that's subtraction. And if it would have said quotient, that's division. So this is all terminology you should have heard before, but I'm just giving you a little refresher. This portion, for 10 and 11, it says see example 1. So that means that these are independent events. And then 12 through 13 are going to be dependent events. So all this space right here is for you to show your work. I would make sure that you write small and leave enough room for everything, or you can do your work on a separate sheet of paper. Just try and make it easy enough for me to read your work. Also, just because I understand this can be somewhat confusing at first, I'm going to be making a video on how to complete this homework, and I will post it after the due date. So you still need to try the homework and turn it in on Google Classroom, but once the deadline has passed, I would post a video explaining all of these problems.